Let me start with something that might hurt to hear. You're probably not poor because of bad luck, the economy, or your circumstances. You're poor because of your habits. I know that sounds harsh. I know it's easier to blame external factors, but here's the thing. I've studied hundreds of people who started with nothing and became wealthy, and hundreds who had everything and lost it all. The difference wasn't their starting point, it was their daily habits. Right now, while you're watching this video, you're either building wealth or destroying it. There's no neutral. Every minute you spend scrolling social media is a minute you're not learning a skill. Every dollar you spend on instant gratification is a dollar that's not working for your future. The habits I'm about to share aren't just theoretical. They're based on real patterns I've observed in people who stay broke their entire lives, despite having opportunities to change their situation. And here's the scary part. Most people don't even realize they have these habits. They're invisible chains that keep you trapped while you wonder why everyone else seems to be getting ahead. Habit 1. The dopamine addiction, scrolling and digital distractions. Let's start with the habit that's probably active in your life right now. Constant digital stimulation. You wake up, and what's the first thing you do? Check your phone. You have 5 minutes between tasks? Instagram. You're waiting in line? TikTok. You're supposed to be working? YouTube. Here's what you don't realize. Every time you reach for that dopamine hit, you're training your brain to seek instant gratification instead of working toward long-term goals. The real cost of scrolling. Let me break down the math for you. The average person spends 2.5 hours per day on social media. That's 17.5 hours per week. Over a year, that's 912 hours, more than 22 full work weeks. Now imagine if you spent those 912 hours learning a high-income skill: coding, sales, digital marketing, graphic design. In 1 year, you could become proficient enough to earn an extra $20,000 to $50,000 annually. But instead, you're watching other people live their lives while your own stagnates. The dopamine trap. Your brain releases dopamine when you expect a reward, not when you get it. That's why you keep scrolling. Your brain thinks the next post might be the one that gives you that hit of satisfaction. But here's the problem. This same dopamine system is supposed to motivate you to pursue real rewards like career advancement, skill development, and building wealth. When you hijack it with social media, you lose motivation for anything that requires sustained effort. I know a guy named Marcus who realized he was spending 4 hours a day on his phone. He made one change. He put his phone in a drawer for the first 3 hours after waking up. Instead, he used that time to learn web development. 6 months later, he landed his first freelance project for $2,000. 1 year later, he was earning more from web development than his day job. 2 years later, he quit and now runs a successful agency. The only difference? He stopped giving his most productive hours to Mark Zuckerberg and started investing them in himself. Habit 2. The instant gratification trap, including pornography. This one's going to make you uncomfortable, but we need to talk about it because it's destroying more lives than people want to admit. Pornography isn't just a moral issue, it's an economic one. And before you click away, hear me out. The hidden cost of instant sexual gratification. Pornography rewires your brain's reward system in the same way that drugs do. It floods your system with dopamine, making normal rewards, like the satisfaction of completing a difficult project or learning a new skill, seem boring by comparison. Studies show that people who regularly consume pornography have decreased motivation, lower self-discipline, and reduced goal-oriented behavior. These aren't moral judgments. These are measurable psychological effects. I've coached hundreds of people, and I can tell you with certainty, the guys who are addicted to porn struggle the most with building wealth. Not because they're bad people, but because their brains are constantly seeking the easy dopamine hit instead of doing the hard work that creates success. The broader pattern of instant gratification pornography is just one example of a larger problem: training your brain to expect immediate rewards without effort. This shows up everywhere: ordering takeout instead of cooking, buying things on credit instead of saving, watching Netflix instead of reading, playing video games instead of working on skills, seeking entertainment instead of education. Every time you choose the instant reward over the delayed benefit, you're strengthening neural pathways that keep you poor. The success alternative. Wealthy people understand something poor people don't. The ability to delay gratification is the foundation of all wealth. Warren Buffett didn't become the world's most successful investor by seeking quick wins. He bought stocks and held them for decades. Jeff Bezos didn't build Amazon by expecting immediate profits. He reinvested everything for years. The same principle applies to your daily choices. Every time you choose the harder, longer path to a reward, you're building the mental muscle that creates wealth. Habit 3, the consistency killer, starting strong, finishing weak. This habit might be the most dangerous because it feels like you're doing something productive, but you're actually training yourself to fail. You've done this before, haven't you? You start a new workout routine with incredible enthusiasm. Week 1 is perfect. You hit every session. Week 2 is pretty good. You miss one workout but make it up. By week 4, you're making excuses. By week 8, you've given up entirely. Then you do the same thing with learning a language, or starting a business, or saving money. Why most people can't stick to anything? The problem isn't lack of motivation. It's misunderstanding how progress actually works. You expect linear improvement, but real progress looks like a staircase with long plateaus. Week 1, exciting, everything's new. Week 2, still motivated, seeing some results. Week 3, this is getting boring. Week 4, I'm not seeing progress anymore. Week 5, maybe this doesn't work. Week 6, I'll try something else. But here's what you don't see. Week 7 is often where the breakthrough happens. Week 10 is where you start seeing real results. Month 6 is where you become competent. Year 2 is where you become exceptional. The compound effect you're missing. Let me tell you about Sarah and Mike. They both decided to start learning digital marketing at the same time. Sarah went all in for the first month. She studied 3 hours a day, took detailed notes, practiced constantly. Then she got busy with life. She still intended to continue, but days turned into weeks. A few months later, she started over with a different course, then stopped again. Mike took a different approach. He committed to just 30 minutes per day, no matter what. Some days he was tired and only did 20 minutes. Some days he was sick and just read for 10 minutes, but he never missed more than 2 days in a row. After 1 year, Sarah had started and stopped 5 different courses. She knew a little about everything but couldn't actually do anything. Mike had completed 2 full courses, built 3 sample campaigns, and landed his first client. After 2 years, Sarah was still thinking about getting serious about digital marketing. Mike was running a digital marketing agency with 8 clients and earning 6 figures. The difference? Consistency beats intensity every single time. Habit 4, the knowledge without action trap. This habit is especially dangerous because it makes you feel productive while keeping you broke. You're always learning something new. You've watched hundreds of hours of how to make money videos. You've bought courses, read books, listened to podcasts. You know more about business and investing than most people, but you're still broke. Why information without implementation is worthless. Knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. The internet has given us unlimited access to information, but most people use it as entertainment rather than education. You watch a 20-minute video about starting a business, feel motivated, then watch 3 more videos about different business models. By the end, you're confused and overwhelmed, so you decide to do more research instead of taking action. I call this tutorial hell, the endless cycle of consuming information without ever implementing anything. Rich people have a different relationship with information. They consume just enough to take the next step, then they act. They learn by doing, not by studying. When they want to start a business, they don't spend 6 months researching. They spend 1 day learning the basics, then they start selling something. They improve based on real feedback from real customers. When they want to invest, they don't read 20 books about investing. They read 1 good book, then start investing small amounts while they learn. Breaking the analysis paralysis cycle. Here's a rule that changed my life. For every hour you spend consuming information, spend 3 hours implementing what you learned. If you watch a 1-hour video about email marketing, spend 3 hours actually setting up an email campaign. If you read a chapter about investing, spend time researching and buying your first stock. This forces you to turn knowledge into skill and skills into income. Habit 5. The victim mentality. Money repellent. This habit is subtle but deadly. It's the belief that external forces control your financial destiny more than your own choices do. The economy is bad. Rich people have all the advantages. I didn't go to the right school. I don't have connections. The system is rigged. Some of these things might be true. But here's what I've learned from studying both successful and unsuccessful people. Your circumstances influence your starting point, but your mindset determines your ending point. The victim versus victor mindset. Victims ask, why is this happening to me? Victors ask, how can I use this situation to my advantage? Victims say, I can't afford it. Victors say, how can I afford it? Victims focus on problems they can't control. Victors focus on solutions they can implement. Let me tell you about two people who started in similar circumstances. James grew up poor, dropped out of high school, and had a criminal record by age 20. For years, he blamed his circumstances. Society doesn't give people like me a chance, he'd say. He was right, it was harder for him than for others. But focusing on that fact kept him stuck. Then something shifted. He realized that while he couldn't control his past, he could control his future. He got his GED, learned welding, started his own welding business, and eventually built a construction company. Today, he employs 30 people. David had similar circumstances, but never shifted his mindset. He's still broke at 45, still angry about the system, still waiting for someone else to give him a chance. Taking ownership changes everything. When you take complete responsibility for your financial situation, even the parts that aren't your fault, something powerful happens. You stop wasting energy on resentment and start focusing that energy on solutions. This doesn't mean you ignore systemic problems or pretend discrimination doesn't exist. It means you decide not to let those factors define your limits. Habit 6. The lifestyle inflation trap. This habit destroys more middle-class wealth than any other single factor. You get a raise, so you get a nicer apartment. You get a promotion, so you buy a better car. You have a good month, so you upgrade your lifestyle. This seems logical. Why make more money if you're not going to enjoy it? But here's the trap. Your expenses rise as fast as your income, so you never actually get ahead. I know people earning $200,000 per year who live paycheck to paycheck. I also know people earning $40,000 who are building wealth. The difference isn't how much they make, it's how much they keep. When you increase your lifestyle, every time your income increases, you create what I call golden handcuffs. You become trapped by your own success, unable to take risks or pursue opportunities because you need that steady paycheck to maintain your lifestyle. The wealth-building alternative. Wealthy people do the opposite. When their income increases, they keep their lifestyle the same and invest the difference. If you're making $50,000 and living on $45,000, then you get a raise to $60,000. The wealthy mindset is to keep living on $45,000 and invest the extra $15,000. Over 20 years, assuming a 7% return, that extra $15,000 per year becomes over $600,000. But most people would use that raise to upgrade their car, move to a nicer place, eat at better restaurants. They feel wealthier, but they're actually no better off financially. The real cost of lifestyle inflation. Every lifestyle upgrade creates a new baseline that's hard to go back to. Once you're used to living in a nice apartment, going back to a modest one feels like failure. Once you're used to eating out regularly, cooking at home feels like deprivation. This psychological trap keeps you on the earning treadmill, always needing more income to maintain your lifestyle, never able to build actual wealth. Habit 7. The relationship wealth drain. The people you surround yourself with either lift you up financially or drag you down. Most people don't realize how much their relationships affect their wealth. If your friends think entrepreneurship is risky and investing is gambling, guess what? You'll probably end up with the same limiting beliefs. If your family thinks money isn't everything and rich people are greedy, you'll unconsciously sabotage your own financial success to fit in. The crab bucket effect. Have you ever seen crabs in a bucket? When one crab tries to climb out, the others pull it back down. People often do the same thing with financial success. When you start making more money, some friends might say you're getting too big for your britches. When you invest in yourself, family might call it waste of money. When you start a business, people will list all the reasons it won't work. They're not necessarily bad people. They're just unconsciously trying to keep you at their level because your success makes them uncomfortable about their own choices. The $1 Million Network. Your network is your net worth isn't just a saying, it's literally true. If you hang around 5 people who make $30,000 per year, you'll probably make around $30,000. If you hang around 5 people who make $100,000 per year, you'll tend toward that income level. This happens because you adopt their financial habits and beliefs. You learn about opportunities through them. You're exposed to higher-level thinking and strategies. You're motivated to match their lifestyle and success. Upgrading your circle. This doesn't mean you abandon old friends, but it does mean you need to intentionally seek out relationships with people who are where you want to be financially. Join professional organizations, attend networking events, find mentors, read books by successful people, listen to podcasts where wealthy people share their strategies. Gradually, your financial mindset will shift from scarcity to abundance, from playing not to lose to playing to win. Habit 8, the emergency fund. Excuse this might be controversial, but the obsession with emergency funds keeps more people poor than it helps. Don't get me wrong, you need some money set aside for unexpected expenses, but many people use building an emergency fund as an excuse to avoid investing and taking calculated risks. The oversaving trap. I know people with $50,000 sitting in savings accounts earning 0.1% interest while inflation eats away at their purchasing power. They're so afraid of losing money that they're guaranteed to lose money. Meanwhile, that same $50,000 invested in index funds would have grown to over $100,000 in the past decade. An emergency fund should be large enough to handle genuine emergencies, not large enough to make you feel completely safe. For most people, 3 to 6 months of expenses is sufficient. Beyond that, keeping money in low-yield savings is actually a financial mistake. You're prioritizing the illusion of safety over the reality of wealth building. Rich people keep smaller emergency funds and larger investment portfolios. They understand that the biggest financial risk isn't market volatility, it's inflation and missed opportunities. They're comfortable with calculated risks because they know that avoiding all risk is the riskiest strategy of all. Habit 9, the skill stagnation syndrome. This habit is becoming more dangerous every year, refusing to adapt and learn new skills as the economy changes. You learned a skill 10 years ago, got a job, and stopped growing. You do the same tasks the same way, year after year, while the world evolves around you. Artificial intelligence and automation are eliminating jobs faster than ever. If your job can be reduced to a series of predictable steps, it will eventually be automated. But instead of learning new skills that are harder to automate, most people stick their heads in the sand and hope their jobs will be safe. There are 2 types of people in today's economy: those who are constantly learning and adapting, and those who are becoming obsolete. The learners are thriving. They're the ones getting promotions, starting successful businesses, and building wealth. The stagnant ones are struggling. Their skills become less valuable every year, their job security decreases, and their income stagnates. Instead of trying to preserve your current job, focus on developing skills that will be valuable in the future. Digital literacy and technology skills, creative problem-solving abilities, emotional intelligence and communication, entrepreneurial and business skills, data analysis and interpretation. The people who thrive in the next decade will be those who started learning these skills today. Habit 10, the timing trap and your path forward. The final habit that keeps people poor is waiting for the perfect time to start building wealth. I'll start investing when the market stabilizes. I'll start a business when I have more experience. I'll learn new skills when I have more time. I'll make changes when my situation improves. But perfect timing never comes. There will always be uncertainty, always be reasons to wait, always be excuses to delay. Let me show you the real cost of waiting with a simple example. Person A starts investing $300 per month at age 25. Person B waits until age 35 to start investing $300 per month. Assuming a 7% annual return, at age 65, Person A has $738,000, Person B has $339,000. Person A invested for 10 more years, but ended up with more than double the money. That's the power of compound interest, and it's why timing matters so much. Here's what you need to do right now, today, to break these wealth-destroying habits. 1. Digital detox. Put your phone in another room for the first hour after you wake up. Use that time for learning or planning. 2. Consistency over intensity. Pick one skill that could increase your income and commit to 30 minutes per day, every day. 3. Action over analysis. For every hour you spend learning, spend 3 hours implementing. 4. Take ownership. Stop blaming external factors and start focusing on what you can control. 5. Audit your relationships. Identify people in your life who support your growth and those who hold you back. 6. Start investing. Even if it's just $25 per month, start now. Time is more important than amount. 7. Upgrade your skills. Identify one skill that will be valuable in the future and start learning it. 8. Control lifestyle inflation. When your income increases, invest the difference instead of spending it. 9. Build an action fund. Instead of an oversized emergency fund, create a fund for opportunities. 10. Stop waiting. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Poverty isn't just about lack of money, it's about habits that prevent you from creating and keeping wealth. These habits are invisible to most people because they feel normal, comfortable, even virtuous. But now you know better. You can't claim ignorance anymore. Every day you continue these habits is a choice to stay where you are financially. The good news? You can change any habit with enough consistency and commitment. The people who become wealthy aren't smarter or luckier. They just develop better habits and stick to them longer. Your financial future is determined by what you do today. Choose wisely. Please like, subscribe, and comments in the video.